Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
Hello, good morning and a very warm welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this morning, as usual, is Babula Jaisekar. Good morning, Babula.
Good morning, Faraz. What's this about this tie? Another £150?
No, it's not. It's a present from my son, actually.
Oh.
And today is his birthday.
The son gives a present to the father.
Indeed, that's where
on his birthday.
That's right. And we're also delighted to welcome to Newsline this morning Mr. Tilak Karunaratne, the chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka. Very good morning to you, Tilak.
Morning.
And thank you very much for being on our show.
Finally, you got him, Faraz. Yeah. Finally.
We must remember that Mr. Karunaratne has been on our program earlier, soon after he came on into this position again. Tilak, what's happened to the mafia? Have they all become good now that you have arrived at the SEC?
I have stopped using that word.
You know, we've become very refined then.
No. It's just that, well, they are not active now in the market.
Right.
Not very active. So,
because they know that.
Why not? Why?
Do
why
they
not?
know
Because
that
you are there or what?
Because they know you're watching carefully.
well, the regulators' job is to watch what's happening in the market. It's one of the functions. More than that, I think they have made their money, and now so they are taking a back seat and waiting, for another opportunity perhaps. But I don't know. But at the moment, they are not very active in the market.
So the markets, in terms of that, in terms of this pumping and dumping and fixing and all that, that's going well now, is it? You don't have that.
Well, I mean, not on that scale.
Right.
There are few issues, but then here now we adopted a different attitude.
Right. Which is,
when we see, we have a surveillance division.
Yeah.
And who keep a very close eye on what's happening in the stock market on a 24/7 basis.
Yeah.
Right. And we see a regulatee, say a broker or an investor or whoever, trying to do something not strictly according to the rules, then we give a friendly warning.
Right.
Right? Said, good that you are coming into the market and investing, but please make sure that the rules are followed. And so after that, that they check themselves and then they behave well. They are good boys. So we don't see very many sort of, this hanky-panky happening now in the capital market.
Friendly warning helps. You call it a friendly warning.
Definitely, it's friendly. But they are not big time. They are small time people. But sometimes we get occasionally guys who are acting on behalf of big funds also doing this, trying to bring the market down and with the intention of buying a big parcel when the market is down. So we have warned them as well. And that this is not the way to behave in the capital market, and you should not deliberately bring the market down with the intention of buying a big parcel at a low price, and that affects the market index. And so the message that goes out is not very positive. So they also have taken the clue, and they also now behave well, no issues.
I'm going to ask you this, and I probably know what answer you'll give me, but why is the market so dull?
Well, it's a universal thing. I mean, it's not only confined to Sri Lanka.
Yes.
As you know that IMF has, the World Bank, IMF, all those institutions have reviewed their forecast to the world economic forecast. They have downgraded now thrice this year. Last year. And China is the main factor. When the second largest economic power in the world, and when they suffer, when they sneeze, and everybody else get a cold, that kind of thing. So, and there's so many other factors: the oil crisis, the migrant crisis in Europe. Europe is I don't know where they are, but then except for US, all the other markets are, even the US markets are down, but somewhat, that the economy is doing fairly okay. Take Japan and all these countries. So we are just a small speck in this whole spectrum, So
Tilak, you said China is the main factor, but for us, but our politicians have been challenging China, try to take China on.
Well, I have no comments on that, but But the politicians do is not my job.
But it's affecting our economy. That's what I'm saying, because you cannot take on China.
The Chinese economy itself is very badly affected.
Yeah.
Last year they had 6.5% growth. That is the lowest in a quarter century. So that is what is affecting everybody. We take Australian markets, the Australian currency. This is how much is that crash? That's about nearly 30% depreciation against the dollar. So it's a universal thing. I mean, there's nothing, I won't say nothing, there's very little we can do to boost up the market today, because without foreign investment coming in, we can't. And here the big blue chips are also not making that kind of money now. They should see their results, they are not doing that well. So investor confidence to some extent is eroded, and also interest rates are going up. When the interest rates go up, the tendency is to go away from the capital market and invest in fixed income derivatives like fixed deposits and things where you without any risk you get your income. So all these things are affecting the market very badly.
To ask you this question, the former chairman found himself in some trouble and remanded and so on. Does it sometimes cross your mind that you are also in that same position, and does that make you more aware of what you have to do, or does it come automatically to you?
If you do the right thing, you don't have to fear anything.
Yeah.
So I have always done the right thing. So therefore I have no issues at all where that is concerned, and I'm quite happy as I am, and we do our job and we do according to rules, and we are also doing a lot of new things in the SEC.
Like?
There's a long list.
Yes.
Start with the new act.
Yeah.
SEC Act, that's an absolute must, which will give us more teeth. And I'm not only talking about regulation, but for development of the market.
Yeah.
So that is last 5 years everybody has been talking about it, but nothing happened. So when I left in 2012, I managed to get the first draft out. But since then, the focus had been on promoting the Colombo Stock Exchange and not doing the regulator's job. So now again we have got back to what our duty and our mandate is for, and we have a very eminent President's Council, Mr. Kanageshwaran heading that committee, and we are now fast-tracked the enactment, or rather the formation, or doing the new act, and by the first quarter this year we hope to complete everything. And then of course it's a fairly long process. It has to go to the commission itself first, then to the cabinet, then to the legal draftman, and from there to parliament, and before it is made into law.
So it's arduous.
Arduous, but then that's a challenge. But then I have said that I'm confident that we can get all these things done before the end of the year.
Right.
And the finance minister in his budget speech also mentioned this, and Prime Minister as sub-minister is very keen on this. So we are pushing it very hard.
Right.
And with that follows so many other things, like broker rules, that we are now looking at broker rules and all the capital market rules, and also take one mergers code, any revision required in that we are looking at. And there's so many things that we are doing on the regulatory side.
Right.
With regard to other things, now for example development of the market.
Yes.
Now that should not be taken as promotion of the market.
Right.
Promotion is strictly the Colombo Stock Exchange baby.
Yeah.
But we can support them. Now when they had investor promotion missions in London and Switzerland,
Yeah.
in Geneva,
Yeah.
we sent our Director General to talk on the regulatory side of the capital market.
Okay.
But what I mean by development is to create investor awareness, and also to have a level playing field for the big and small investors both.
Talking about bigger investors, and I have a viewer who sent me a couple of questions. Are there shares available for big foreign funds to buy?
Shares are available, but big foreign funds at the moment are not very much interested in a small market, emerging market like Sri Lanka. So
what can you do to make? Do you think there's a case for the
There are
government?
so many choices today.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what is the special attraction that Sri Lanka has for them to come and invest here?
Is there a case for the government to consolidate, say, for example, you know, in the insurance, 50% of that is already held by the government, but it's not listed, and so on. So is there a case to?
There is a
encourage
case,
that?
and in fact, in the budget speech also it was mentioned.
Yeah.
And the SOEs, the state-owned enterprises,
Yeah.
will have to be listed in some way or the other.
Yeah.
Not perhaps even if not the main SOE, but the subsidiary of that. Now, if you take, for example, Sri Lankan Airlines,
Yeah.
and if you don't want to list that, you can list Sri Lanka Catering,
Right.
which is a profit-making entity.
Yeah.
So like that, we can slowly come into this. But thinking that I find that there are a lot of trade union militants in this country.
Right.
You know, for any positive step the government want to take, and there is objection and there is agitation. You can see that, I mean, without anything that recently some bank employees went on strike or whatever, you know, for a day or one day strike. So first we have to educate them.
Yeah.
You know, that what I think President Premdas successfully did was that during that time he gave 10% of the shares of these entities to the employees. So that way they also benefited. So I think probably, I mean, government knows what they are doing, and so Prime Minister is very knowledgeable. I'm sure that they will think of a package like that before they come into the market.
And then, like you said, militants, trade union militants, that's dangerous.
That is dangerous. Now see why Vietnam is prospering. At the moment, of course, their market is all down, but I'm saying is that they are attracting huge foreign investments. Now Samsung, for example, I mean, they have 2 plants there, and each plant they brought in something like $5 billion. $5 billion. I mean, we are talking about millions. We are talking about billions. Just Samsung alone brought 2 installments, you know, for that. So there is no thing is that, you know, when you are a communist country, it is the party that rules. So there is no room for labor militants. It's a higher policy. They will talk about socialism till the cows come home, but there is no socialism. I mean, the foreign investors can come, establish their industries, and it's a higher and higher policy. So obviously we can't do that. We are a democracy, and there are labor rights, and we have very, advanced labor rights in the world. So I mean, we can't do that certainly. So we have to look after their interests as well. So we are competing against such countries. So we are at a disadvantage.
Let's take a short commercial break and come back to this very interesting discussion on the stock exchange and the regulator. Join us after this break. Welcome back to Newsline, and this morning we're joined by Mr. Tilak Karunaratne, the chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka. Tell me, Tilak, how reflective of our country's economy is the current market?
Fair reflection on the current economy. You know that if you take our commitments for this year, settlement of loans, something like $8 billion we have to settle, and our net assets are only around $7 billion, and we have to settle $8 billion, and the foreign investments are not coming, and even the inflows from our foreign employees, those who are employed abroad, is virtually stagnant and is coming down. And with this crisis in the Gulf states, with the low oil prices, and they will not be able to employ very many of these people in the future. So things are not pretty good. You know that they are actually, I would say, it's a fairly bleak picture. So that affects certainly. You know, the country's sovereign rating may be affected, perhaps, and unless we can settle this debt crisis, that of course was due to the last few years unlimited borrowings for so-called infrastructure development.
Yeah.
And so we are now in a debt trap. So we have to come out of it somehow. So the government, economists and economic policies have to be focused on that. So $8 billion to settle in a year, when you don't have that kind of money being generated, it's really going to be tough. And interest rates certainly will go up on that.
One of our viewers has obviously picked up on what we said before and says that the banking sector has only got a 30% presence on the market. Insurance is 50%, agriculture nothing, power nil, and ports nil. What can we do to encourage these different sectors to come in on the market?
Banking, what do you mean by banking? Not the all the banks are listed except for the couple of new banks like the Cargill's Bank and all that. All the others are listed.
Right,
Banking.
well, he's probably got that wrong. Agriculture, power, ports, insurance, 50%.
Yeah, the ports, of course, is state monopoly. So that again is SOE that government must think about, so except for one that is SGT, that is with John Keels, that is part of John Keels. Other than that, the rest is all government. So,
but the Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, they're not listed.
They're not listed. Banks are not listed. That is true. But they are the two, those two and NSB.
Yeah.
If you can get at least 10% of each into the capital market, then it will give a huge boost up.
Have you tried to?
Well, I mean, it is not. It's well known, and that's government policy.
Yeah.
And eventually it will happen.
The EPF, ETF also.
EPF, ETF also, and EPF, ETF, not meaning not to list them, but for them to fund,
invest. Yeah.
Invest. But unfortunately, there are a lot of resistance, as I told you, that even you can see in Parliament also, that they don't want. I don't know. I don't understand the opposition's the position on these matters. They are not. They don't know what's happening in the world really. They are like sort of same tune. I mean, I have been hearing for the last 25 years from the guys who sit in the
At
opposition.
the risk of sounding as though I am also playing the same tune, but this interview with you or this discussion with you is incomplete if I don't ask you this one question, which is what's happened to these files that were supposed to be reopened?
Yeah. Now that was.
Is that in that file?
No, it's not. Not this file. There are a whole heap of files.
Right.
Now, it's a good question that I'm glad that you asked me that.
Yes, if you don't, the people will think that this is all fixed.
Definitely. You know that when I came and said here last time that we are looking at 19, there were 17 when I left, and then subsequently 2 added, and there were 19.
Yeah.
Right. And then we went into that.
Yeah.
But our commission, I got one of the best commissioners anyone can imagine. The commissioners are really committed, and they are professionals in their own respective fields, and that their contribution is fantastic. So I must be thankful to the government for appointing such a commission. And they had a very hard look, and they said to open a case, let's give us enough facts to convince us that we should reopen this case. So we did a lot of work and managed to get their sanction to open 6 cases. But then what happened after that was we found that the investigation division was not doing anything on that.
Right.
Obviously, they know that they have been used to a certain way of working. So that took us some time. Then what we did was we changed the entire investigation division from the top, that is from the director and the investigating officers. We changed the whole lot.
Right.
And we identified certain staff members within who could man this. And currently now they are undergoing some kind of training by...
But, are these files, have they been forgotten?
They are not, certainly not been forgotten.
They're pretty much active.
Pretty much active, and in fact now our commission met last Friday, 29th, and again they want to know what's happening. So we summoned the investigation division, the new guys, and we set them a deadline, at least by 30th June, that you must have at least 6 cases finished, completed. So that's a challenge for them as well. And meanwhile, we have advertised for additional staff for the investigation division, and we also have the very senior DIG who was in charge of the CID for some time to train these guys in the art of questioning. And some people have got very anxious and upset about that. I mean, I don't see anything
But
wrong.
it's ongoing.
It's ongoing. There's a 3 months assignment we have given him just to train these guys in the art of questioning, that's all. And after that he goes, out he goes.
The Prime Minister can't be very happy with this, or is he tolerant?
No.
Because in Parliament he said
Yes, of course. I know that I don't think he's happy about it, but then he knows what's happening.
Right.
So he knows what a huge task and a challenge it is.
Yeah.
So
he hasn't phoned you up and said, Tilak, investigate.
Never ever. That's one thing I said in a Daily Mirror interview also recently. And unlike in 2012, where I used to get calls almost on a daily basis
Right.
from the minister in charge who happened to also be the president. Today, thankfully, I haven't got any call from our minister, that is our Prime Minister, or for that matter from anybody else.
But have you had a call from now the former president?
No. Why should I have calls from the former president?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have two questions. One is, now you said, okay, the future is bleak. But look at the governance. I
didn't say the future is bleak.
No, the present, it's, look, the stock market, okay, the bleak. But now see the governance, now we cannot forget that you are a former member of parliament.
Yeah.
So, the governance, we are very top heavy. People, so many ministers, they carry on regardlessly. Shouldn't, I'm speaking, that area, shouldn't they look at it, then there's too much pressure on the lower level. That's one question. Number two, for us, because I'm referring to you as a former MP, a strong SLFP. What's happening to the SLFP?
Well,
that's
as a
important.
regulator, I'm not supposed to talk on
But
those
as a
things,
former MP.
But then I don't think it is right for me to comment on political issues, so I'd rather not. Bandula.
Even as a
Sorry,
former MP, you don't want to.
No, but not in this forum.
No.
Yeah.
So this is because I'm here as the regulator,
Yes.
chairman of the Security Action Commission of Sri Lanka. So it is not for me to go talk about politics here. It's not
Very
fair.
diplomatic.
There are vacancies in the diplomatic service in case you're interested.
I'm not interested. When President Rajapaksa offered me London as the High Commissioner, and I said thank you very much. Before that, before Karana Godabent, he offered me Japan.
Yeah.
I said thank you very much, because I'm not a
But
diplomat.
even now, London is vacant for us. Nobody
Yeah,
wants to take London.
Do you think, Tilak, that with the remanding of Nalaka Godaheba on matters connected with his work at SEC, his was a political appointment. The other person was a career sort of chap. Do you think, though, that has serves as an example or as a sort of a deterrent to others who work not only at the SEC but other people in government service who may now stop to think twice and say, oh my God, I'll have to go to the Colombo remand. Do you think that has worked in that respect?
Of course it should, because you know that if you do something wrong, then we have to pay the price for it. So now they were taken to task, they were remanded, now they are out on bail. I don't want to comment on that case at all, but then that is the right thing to do. To do something wrong, then we have to pay for it.
What about this bond issue?
Do you have anything to do with the bond?
Bond issue.
Nothing, that is a central bank issue.
That's a
Central bank issue.
Now,
But are you concerned about it?
Well, I suppose everybody is concerned, and everybody was, at that time it was a real issue, but again,
It's not an issue now in your view.
you know, that's another regulator, and how can I comment on another regulator's job?
that's true. Stop it, now then, 69 years almost of independence.
Yes.
How confident are you for Sri Lanka?
No, the long-term confidence is there, that even if you take about 6 months ago, the Economist Research Division published a survey, and where they said that by 2050 our per capita income should be over $50,000. So you know that everybody is positive in the long term, but short term there are a lot of challenges the government is facing. So that I'm sure they will be able to overcome most of these challenges, and then 2017 we can look at in a positive manner for 2017. 2016 will be a very challenging year. It's tough for the capital market, not only for capital market, it's for economy, for everything else. 2016 is really a difficult year, but if we could overcome all these hurdles in 2016, we can look for a rosier picture in 2017.
And this new act that you're talking about, will it have At the moment, you have to have a criminal element. In this new act, it's going to have a
Civil and administrative both, yeah.
right.
So, but more than that, that it'll bring us in line with the ISCO,
Right.
requirements. So then that we will be recognized by the world body that which all the security agencies belong. Then that will help us, that to get our country rating up from an emerging market to the next level. And so all these things will happen now. I recently attended a conference in Bali as the regulator, and again that we are on their radar. And for the next country review, Sri Lanka has been selected, so they will come here. They do the first quarter itself, and then they will do a gap analysis and what shortcomings are there, and they will update our all the requirements. So then when we are online, that the investors or foreign investors also will look at us in a more positive manner, that there is a proper regulatory framework in Sri Lanka. So therefore we can come to the capital market without fear, that our investments will be safe. So that is our ultimate objective.
Excellent. So short term, maybe a bit of challenge, but long term,
I'm quite positive on the long.
Positive. Excellent. Tilak Karunaratne, Chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for coming here and sharing your thoughts.
Thanks, and thank you for inviting me. Thanks.
Absolute pleasure. And Banu, thank you. And on that note, a short thought for the day. You're strong when you know your weaknesses. You are beautiful when you appreciate your flaws. You are wise when you learn from your mistakes. On that note, we wish you a great day. Take care and God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukut Ali.